Careful. Easy.
I'm going to do Flash this time.
Keep your shirt on.
This episode is brought to you by Flash. Combat tricks have never been so sexy. Flash. Do it.
Just give him a little look.
Do it. Just do it.
We won't tell.
Hi, I'm Gramps.
Hi, I'm Chillybin.
And here on Casual Compliance, we used to do a wheel spin where we talk about a card from the wheel, but everyone stopped watching at the wheel time, so we've cut it out.
We had a pre-game discussion and said, get fucked, actually.
We still do the wheel, we just do it off screen. And then what we do is we take the card that we do at random on the day and we talk about why it should be banned or not banned, usually not banned from Commander.
Often banned.
We're talking about the culture of the game. Why does a casual format have a ban list? What is it prescribing for those playing? Is it a guideline? Is it something solid? Rule 0 exists. But we're talking about why the committee thinks that it's not good for the health of the game. So we'll talk about the card before explaining why it's banned, because Chili hasn't seen a majority of these cards. Some of these cards he's never seen.
Some of them I haven't heard of.
Exactly. And then what we'll do is we'll talk about why we think it's banned. We'll do a bit of a research phase. You'll see the Scryfall syntax Sergeant talk about some Scryfall syntax
Yeah, I still
stuff.
don't like Sergeant being attached to it.
And I've been watching a lot of MASH. And then what we'll do is we'll come back and Chillybin will see what he found using his awesome syntax discovery, and I'll tell you what I found from Reddit. Except for last episode where I did some actual research and still lost.
You didn't even open Reddit.
It was a waste of time.
Okay.
I'm going Reddit this time. Let's talk about what we're talking about this week.
Yeah.
So the pre-spin has happened and we are talking about Panoptic Mirror.
All right.
Panoptic Mirror is another imprint card. So welcome back to the Isochron Scepter show where we're talking about a non-Isochron Scepter card. Panoptic Mirror is a 5-cost card. It's a 5 generic artifact.
Uh-huh.
Not even a legendary artifact, just artifact.
Okay.
Imprint X and then tap. So you may remove an instant or sorcery card with converted mana cost X in your hand from the game.
Right.
That card is imprinted on this artifact. So you have to pay X and then tap it to imprint.
Is that? Okay. I don't know if that's how... Anyway. Keep going. Oh, sorry, it's imprint and then the cost is X and tap.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may copy an imprinted instant or sorcery card and play the copy without paying its mana cost. So basically what this is doing, I guess, is imprinting... Oh, so you can just imprint as many as you want.
Yeah.
For the X and the tap.
Yeah.
And then at your upkeep, you just pick which one.
Yeah.
Copy and imprint. So I'm assuming you can only do it once. You may copy and imprint.
Well, because you have to tap to play the copy, is that?
No, just at the beginning of your upkeep, you may copy an imprinted instant or sorcery.
Oh, got you.
And play the copy without paying its mana cost.
Okay.
That also counts for other imprinted cards as well. If you imprint with Isochron Scepter, it just says imprinted. Does say imprinted with Panoptic Mirror?
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
I feel like this is one I'm gonna when we do go to research, I'm gonna need to read closely because like hearing you read it to me, I'm kind of struggling to put some of the effects together.
Let me do it again. I'm gonna print it as written there because this is one of those ones where we're gonna have to try and figure out what it means. And, Scryfall will help us. So imprint the full dash X, tap.
Yep.
Full colon, you may remove an instant or sorcery card with converted mana cost X in your hand from the game.
Yep.
Parenthesis, italics, that card is imprinted on this artifact.
Yep.
At the beginning of your upkeep, you may copy an imprinted instant or sorcery card and play the copy without paying its mana cost. This card is very powerful.
So also, what if it's a card somebody else has imprinted?
Exactly. Exactly.
Weird.
Yeah, good card. Why do you think this is banned? It's a hard one, isn't it? Because it seems innocuous. It doesn't. You would need to be playing a lot of imprint, and
not necessarily. I think even on its own, even if you were playing no other imprint, you could essentially just build up a library of spells under it, and then on your upkeep, do any one of them for free. It's a non-legendary artifact, so you could copy it. And because it doesn't check its own imprints, it checks any imprints.
Yeah, you're imprinting multiple things.
You could just do one spell many times. You could do a bunch of different ones. Yeah, if I were to put this into my Orvar deck, for example,
It'd be super
I have
fun.
ways to make copies of artifacts.
Yeah.
And that would be a pretty bad time.
And it's not even about imprinting things with the copy you make. It's more the fact that the effect doubles. But then also you've got a lot of things that double effects. You've got,
Yeah.
you know, there's the Journey into Eternity. Is that what it is? The colorless one, colorless effects. It's basically panharmonic for colors.
It's like Echoes of Eternity.
Echoes of Eternity. That's
where
one.
it's like a colored, a triggered ability of a colorless.
It's the hands coming out. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, sick. So like, there's ways to do what you're doing in kind of more expensive, maybe, but like without copying the artifact. But why? But it still doesn't tell me why it's banned though. Because what gameplay is brought up by this?
I think it is pretty generic. Like, again, colorless artifact, so it can go in any deck.
Yep.
There's not really any limitation on what you can imprint with it. You just have to be able to pay the cost for it.
Yeah, and it's also an instant or sorcery in your upkeep, so it removes timing for that as well.
Yeah, it does.
You get Day of Judgment every upkeep.
Yeah, I think I think the ban reason might, because I haven't seen it yet, might have something to do with like the amount of stuff you're able to do for free, which is removing one of the main limitations of Magic the Gathering.
Yes, removing the color pie entirely,
basically. Just removing the concept of cost.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's the fundamental basis. Look at all of the episodes of Drive to Work where he talks about color pie and costing and CMC. So it contravenes the core mechanic of the game.
And I'm trying to think about like, because there's definitely plenty of effects that let you do something without paying its mana cost, but it's often
expensive.
Often that, or it's often something you can do once and then it's done.
Yeah.
It's not something that you can do every turn reliably.
And there's a lot of things that see you cheapen like effects and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Okay.
So I think that's probably part of the ban reason.
Do you think it can be unbanned, given what it is?
The
reason I ask that with a lilt up is usually I'm very confident of like, it's going to be banned, so he's going to say no. But I think this, I don't know, I think this one can be unbanned. And I'm not memeing this time. Like last episode, should stay banned.
Yeah.
Coalition Victory
Coalition
sucks,
Victory is too much.
This can be unbanned.
I could see a world. Cheers, wind.
Calm down, tree. Or I'll imprint you.
I'll imprint you into the ground.
It's already in the ground.
Damn it,
Imprint
you're right.
you out of the ground.
You're so right. I meant like bury it. Anyway.
No, that's dies.
Oh, sorry. It's go to graveyard dies. Yeah, bury is a dead.
I'll go to graveyard you.
It's like tangent on a tangent. I'm trying to. What was the question?
Can it be unbanned?
Can it be unbanned? Yes. Yeah. So I could see a world where that happens, but what I haven't thought through yet is what that might do to game experience. What that might do? Goes to the graveyard, it gives all your creatures something, isn't it? Yeah. I don't know. I can't remember. Is might a card?
Probably.
The heat is making me delirious.
It is 32 degrees and we're in under these big fucking lights.
Under a tin roof.
Let's research.
Yeah.
Welcome back. If you've just tuned in, wild that you're watching halfway through a video.
Maybe someone sent you a timestamp and we're like, hey, check this out.
Check this out. Well, they're showing you a timestamp.
That puts pressure on us to do something real wild next.
Our socials are Casual Compliance at TikTok, Casual Compliance on Spotify, Blue Sky Casual Compliance, Elon Musk can suck a fuck. Is that libel? Probably not. Who cares?
No, it's saying he can.
He's capable of sucking a fuck.
Yeah.
He does it regularly.
Yeah.
That
might get us in trouble.
Sue us, fuck you.
No, don't.
And then YouTube at Casual Compliance. If you're listening to us on Spotify, which we do have Spotify listeners, there's a video podcast where you do not actually get any benefit, really.
I mean, you would have just seen me grab a sandfly out of the air or whatever the fuck it was, just right in front of my eyeball.
We are in a desert. My raucous. So we've been talking about Panoptic Mirror.
Yeah.
5-cost artifact rare, printed on the 6th of Feb 2004. I don't know why it's gone that specific. And then banned in 2005. No month, no nothing, just banned in 2005.
Did I get it? No.
All right, Mr. Miyagi. Artifact, imprint, X, tap. So you pay X, tap to imprint with this card. You may remove an instant or sorcery card with converted mana cost X in your hand from the game. So imprinting it onto the artifact. At the beginning of your upkeep, and there's a really important errata. When was that version printed? What set is that?
This is Dark Steel, so I think it's only had one
It's just
printing,
so
it will
it's just
have
an
been
errata.
an errata.
So the errata is at the beginning of your upkeep, you may copy an imprinted imprinted instant or sorcery card with Panoptic Mirror.
Yes.
And play the copy without paying its mana cost.
Yeah. So what we said earlier about as printed, it just says an imprinted card,
which is way more fun.
That would actually be way more broken too, because it would mean no one else wants to play Imprint.
Yes, yeah. But the thing is, Panoptic Mirror only plays cards on upkeep for free.
Yeah.
Cards that are imprinted with Panoptic Mirror.
With
we're clear on that now.
With that Panoptic Mirror.
Yes.
So if you were to copy it, each of those would have their own card pool.
Of card pools. Yes, which gets rid of that first thing you were talking about as well before the break too.
Yeah.
Where it doesn't just double up.
Yeah.
But Journey to Eternity,
I didn't even bring that up.
It'll still double the effect, but doubling effects we're not really worried about here. Anyway, Panoptic Mirror's presence on the banned list serves to remind players. This is a fucking reminder, players, that most things are fun in moderation. It was and remains banned because of the incidental, often accidental uses which lead to repetitive, boring games.
Sure.
Beyond the obvious extra turns combo, it's also a trap for casual deck builders because it seems like a fun value engine. However, too many different 4+ mana spells when imprinted will grind the game to a halt.
Yeah.
Wraths, tutors.
Oh yeah.
Discards.
I honestly didn't even go looking for stuff that would be nasty like that.
Even card draw can yield insurmountable advantage and lock up the game.
Yeah.
So
in my Ian Malcolm card draw deck, there's I think it's Vision Skynes. It's every player draws 2.
Yeah.
Just constantly do that.
Well, not constantly. Upkeep.
Every turn, but repeatedly, reliably. Yeah.
Yeah, and that would get your trigger to go off, so you'd be incentivized to have it in.
Yeah.
And then I would be incentivized to play one of the Canker Blooms from Euphorexia, which is it's a 2/1 creature, and you pay 1 to destroy target artifact.
Yeah.
Or fabricate.
Yeah.
Or
defabricate.
Defabricate.
Yeah.
Yes. Or resculpt.
Yeah.
Or that smashing Brontodon, which is pay 1, sacrifice, and destroy target artifact.
True.
Or anything that destroys target artifact.
There's a lot of that.
Literally, every color has destroy artifact.
Yeah.
Yeah. What you got?
So that's your argument?
It's just that's not my argument.
Okay.
I'm just saying it's easy. It's fucking easy to remove.
Okay.
This card is so easy to remove.
It is.
Yeah.
What I'm going to start with is a card I mentioned as a joke a few episodes back, but in this case, it's really fucking relevant. Obika, Splitter of Seconds.
Woo!
1 blue, black, red for a 2/5 legendary ogre warlock with menace. Whenever Obika, Splitter of Seconds deals combat damage to a player, you get that many additional upkeep steps after this phase.
Yes.
So it would happen now, not the next turn. You get more. You get after you finish combat.
4-second mate.
You can have a bunch of these cards go off.
How many? Sorry, is it upkeeps equal to the amount of damage Obika does?
Yes.
Sick. Okay.
So Obika starts at a 2/5.
Sorry, I was just imagine. I wish that it was Esper colored because that'd be so much fun in Allura.
Yeah. But
all that life gain.
Yeah. So if you were to say make Obika big, already has menace, so you got to get out of my face.
Yeah.
You've got to double block it.
+1/+1 counters.
Give it trample, make it bigger. Yeah. Something like that. Make it unblockable even.
Yeah.
Pretty straightforward
Rogue's
stuff
Passage.
to do. Yeah. Whisper Silk Cloak. Yeah. Any of those sort of effects. It's in black. You could give it shadow probably. Yeah. So yeah, that would let you do a bunch of these immediately.
Yeah.
If you were playing Panoptic Mirror, you mentioned infinite turns. Time Warp would cost you 5 to imprint, and it just says target player takes an extra turn after this one. Mm-hmm. So you would just be able to do that every turn.
I would like you to keep these tabs open for me because I will come back to them.
I will. But then I went looking for just any card that sort of includes the text without paying.
Yeah.
Things that let you just play stuff.
Things that do similar things.
Yeah. So in Commander, there are 259 legal options. But then I went looking for specifically what this does, which is copy a thing and cast the copy for free.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of cards that say things like, you can play a spell for free, but then it's still subject to normal, rules. It goes to the graveyard or exile after casting. It's generally a one-off type effect.
Continual.
Yeah. Whereas cards that say, where are we? Yeah. The copy without paying, so usually that will fall in the sentence you may cast the copy without paying.
Yeah.
There's 23 options.
Okay.
Most of them are things like exile it, copy it, cast the copy for free. So it's a one-off
Yeah.
for each of those cards.
And it takes the card out of the game.
Yeah, there are
Like Panoptic Mirror.
there are a few though that give you repeatable access to that exiled card.
Can you just go back to that page for me?
Yeah.
What is the general cost of all these cards that you copy a spell from exile?
I mean, Isochron Scepter costs 2.
Yep.
We're looking at what, like there's 3, 4, 3, 4, 4. Yeah, sort of 4 and up.
Okay.
3. There's some 3s in there.
They all sound around 3 or 4 costs.
Yeah.
Cool.
But yeah, so things like the creature, Elite Arcanist, 3 generic and a blue. When it enters, you may exile an instant card from your hand. And then X tap, copy the exile card, cast that copy for free. So it's a similar effect because it's an X-based value.
X tap, yeah.
But the exile you don't pay for. You just slam it in
You just
there.
exile it and then you pay its cost with the X
When
cost.
you want to
any
copy
color
it.
mana.
Yeah. But again, it's a 1/1 for 4.
Yeah.
It's an enter the battlefield effect. So like pretty easy to get rid of.
Yeah.
Got Eye of the Storm, 5 generic blue from enchantment from Ravnica, City of Guilds. Whenever a player plays an instant or sorcery card, remove it from the game. Then that player copies each instant or sorcery card removed from the game with Eye of the Storm. For each copy, the player may play the copy without paying its mana cost.
Yeah.
Fully legal. Kind of weird.
Yeah.
Like, every player is subject to that effect.
Script hub. Put it in a Queen deck.
It's basically like growing spell recursion.
Yeah.
Because you play an instant or sorcery, it's whenever they play. So like, it wouldn't resolve because it's when you play it.
Go on. It's like a Mirror of Life Trapping. But
Yeah.
for
So we're going there, but then everything you've done previously goes off.
Yes.
Which is wild.
That's rad.
Yeah. That's like Descent to Avernus for spells.
That could be a format of its own where you just have that in the middle on the board.
Yeah, and then you'd have to think about like the sequencing of what you have done previously, and like, is that gonna put a counter spell in there?
Yeah,
everyone's got their own stack that they're building over time,
and then you can pick a spell to counter in the stack.
But why would you counter your own shit?
Well, you can count someone else's shit.
No, but it's only your stuff, and it's whenever you play an instant.
Weird.
So actually, if you played an instant, so say someone,
you could count. Someone plays an instant, you play an instant, your stack goes off. There's a counterspell in there somewhere. So you're waiting for that to happen. But then
everything else also happens.
Yeah, but like it's like, oh, cool, I'll opt and draw a card and scry.
Yeah, that would be kind of
a fun card.
I feel like I want to try and build a format with that. That sounds fun as hell.
That's a format builder, not a deck builder.
Yeah. And then there's a couple from Unfinity. Because there's some weird stuff.
I just saw this card art. This one's for you, Alex.
One of these is very familiar to us. Our friend Alex has this as a commander.
I think
he still has it.
He still does. He just hates playing it because it's fucking solid.
It's so bad for everyone else, and sometimes himself.
It's fully bad for him. He acknowledges
he hates it. Yeah, it creates a lot of work for yourself, but it's also, once it gets going, it's really hard to stop.
Oh, yeah.
So we have Magar of the Magic Strings. 1 black-red for a 3/3 legendary Minotaur performer with the activated ability for 1 black-red. Note the name of target instant or sorcery card in your graveyard and put it onto the battlefield face down. It's a 3/3 creature with the following ability. Whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, you may create a copy of the card with the noted name. You may cast this copy without paying for its mana cost. And also, this ability, if this creature would leave the battlefield, exile it instead of putting it anywhere else. So essentially what you do is turn spells into creatures. If they hit you at all, you cast a copy of it for free, but it stays there.
Yes, you play Breach the Multiverse as a creature, and then make it unblockable because it's fucking Rakdos.
Yeah.
And then you just hit.
Yeah, yeah. So you are just, like, it feels similar, sort of effect to Panoptic Mirror, where it's like, you're just lining up these spells and you're just going like, I'm just going to start firing these off. All I have to do is hit you once with it. And it's any amount of damage.
Unfinity being legal was a mistake.
Yeah, I would agree. Then there's also Myra the Magnificent.
See, I thought that was Roxanne that you're looking at. No. Myra the Magnificent.
So 2 generic and blue-red for a legendary human performer.
Is it?
2/4. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell from your hand, open an attraction.
Hey, attractions.
And then X and tap Myra. Exile target instant or sorcery card with mana value X from your graveyard and choose an attraction you control that doesn't have a midway counter on it. Put a midway counter on it. Whenever you visit that attraction, copy the exiled card. You may cast the copy without paying its mana cost. So set up a bunch of rides at the fairground, slap some magic under it, and then whenever you go ride that ride, off we go.
Far out.
That one's kind of cool. Like, I don't like attractions because they're just too much work.
You have to have an attraction deck on the side
and
of your...
it's like you've got to roll dice at the end of your turn or some shit.
Which is pretty fun.
Yeah, and there's things you can do with rolling dice.
Yeah.
But, yeah, weird shit.
Yeah.
But generally, I think the theme of all this is, like, aside from, I think, what was it, Magar, generally these types of effects have just like a little bit more restriction applied to them. Like, you can do it once, you can only do it once, then the spell's gone, or it costs a bit more, or there's timing restrictions in place, something like that. So, yeah, this one, I don't know. Well, I'll let you do your bit, because I'm still thinking about whether or not this is...
Well, let's go back to the one we have, the list of cards that do similar mechanics, which was... and
about
go
23 of them.
There's about 23 of the cards, and most of them were 3 cost, 4 cost, 3 cost, 4 cost kind of stuff. Yes, there were some that were a bit higher, but 3 cost and 4 cost, you read out quite a bit for someone who was surprised by how much 3 costs were. This is 5 cost. Yes, it is generic, but it's 5 cost. The biggest thing we get in our comments sometimes when we're talking about combos, especially in our shorts, where we've cut out
all the context.
Cut out all the context and given this wild combo that's really expensive. That's usually an exaggeration from Commander Spellbook. On an already banned card, they're like, oh, this is really inefficient. Here's this. Someone, I think like, fuck, what was it? Where they were talking, where we're doing the infinite turn combo, like, man, you need 24 mana for this. It's like, okay, so...
But it was something with Seaborn Muse or something involved, wasn't it?
So let's talk about this. Because it was a Prophet of Krufix episode.
Yes.
So let's talk about that then. So all of these are 3 or 4 costs, and you get to do it at least once, sometimes more than once. This is a 5 cost. Yes, it's generic, but it's a 5 cost. Just to put on the battlefield.
Yeah.
And when it ETBs, it doesn't imprint.
No.
So you need to pay 5, put it on the battlefield. You got 5 mana down.
Yeah.
Which means you need to survive. It needs to survive a full round before you can imprint something. Now, that's saying that you've done it early game when you've got 5 mana, you've put it down. Okay? Say you've got 10 mana. You chuck it down and you imprint a Day of Judgment. All in the same turn.
What's Day of Judgment do?
It's the board wipe.
Creatures? Board wipe? Yeah.
And you want to do that every upkeep because... fuck, you don't like having fun or your creature. Like, you got Avacyn down, it's in an Avacyn deck, something like that. That person goes, that person goes, that person goes. You still have time to get rid of it. Well, actually, if you have an Avacyn deck, you don't have time to get rid of it because it's got
everything's indestructible.
Everything's indestructible. So Avacyn's a bad example. But if there's a deck where you've got Day of Judgment down, you've got a way to protect just your creatures or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's, again, got to survive before you can even pay off that upkeep cost. Yeah. So there's either...
Well, before you can even, like, imprint some shit onto it.
Well, you can imprint straight away.
Oh, yeah. If you've got 10 mana.
So if you've got 10 mana, but then again, you're also using all of your mana once again. Yeah. Like, late game, it's pretty good, but you're already late game. Early game, it kind of sucks. Because it's down, you have to pay for it, and then you have to pay to imprint. Yeah. And there's 6 turns of, this... You get 2, this person will have 2 turns, that person will have 2 turns, this person will have 2 turns before I can viably get it off. Sure. Let's look at Obika. How much does Obika cost? 5? 4. That's a 5 cost card. For Obika and this to pay off, you need 9 minimum. The mana cost floor is 9. And like, yeah, you can do that over multiple turns, but then the mana cost floor is 9 and multiple turns. And then you need to imprint and have that pay off. Yeah. Like, yeah, the game can go ahead and get quite out of hand. And yeah, sure, there's ways to protect it and double affect it. But Artifact, I think, is the most vulnerable to removal of any type other next to creatures. Yeah. When you look at the tenets of Commander, there's nothing that it really goes against. It doesn't force a meta. Because you can't really force a meta around it. Like, no. You can't... No, it's not one of those ones that, like, everyone was starting to include. It has to be in every deck, right? Yeah. You build it in deck that it works for. I would put it in Obika, for sure. Absolutely. I would probably put it in... honestly, I actually don't know what I would put it in. There's not a deck I have at the moment that I think I could put I don't have an Obika deck. I just think that would be a really fun combo. But that'd be a deck you'd make. And you'd build around it and people would know about it as well. Yeah. But, like, this Artifact removal is so good in that. It doesn't really... Yes, it has a chance to create a boring game, but so do all of those other cards you've described. Yeah. But also cards like that can build Sorry, my mum's texting me about the cricket.
Ah.
Cards like that have a potential to build excitement. There's a fun element to that. If you get your Panoptic Mirror down, I want to know what you're going to put down there.
Well, and also like it's exile, it's face up. Like everyone knows what you've got access to.
Exactly. So they could also it's a different interaction. If you're Panoptic Mirroring in the first, you're not going to put a counter spell under it.
I might.
Yeah, but in upkeep.
No, true.
Really?
Yeah, actually, yeah, it's all upkeep.
Really?
Choice.
Yeah,
no.
like cool. You tutor a card
Yeah,
whenever you want with
it's not like
demonic
Isochron
tutor.
Scepter where it's like you do it when you want.
Exactly. It's set fixed on its time.
Yeah, you know, and it's not every single instant in sorcery would be a good imprint target.
With full, and there's no comment on the people that made the ban in the first place or anything like that, but I think a reminder that things are good in moderation, sure, but I don't think there's a reason, especially since this came out in 2005, there's been 19 more years of Magic with power creep and artifact removal and all that stuff. I just don't think this is a game ruiner anymore where it losing I don't think it would be played under moderation.
Yeah, I don't think
I think Isochron Scepter is worse.
Yeah, I would maybe agree.
Paying 2 and tapping it at instant speed.
Isochron Scepter also has the ceiling of 2 mana.
Yeah, but how many spells are
like
2 mana?
There's a lot of good stuff 2 mana and under, but this is saying as long as you can pay for the spell once, you can play it for free for the rest of the game.
As long as you can pay for the spell plus 5.
Yeah, I'm assuming we're past the point of Panoptic Mirrors down.
Yeah.
We're on to the next turn.
Yeah.
And you're choosing something to imprint.
But you can't exclude the cost of Panoptic
No,
Mirror.
I'm not. I'm trying to get to the point of like the difference with Isochron Scepter is you have to pay for the spell every time you want to cast it. With this, it's once.
Yeah.
That I think is a big difference.
Yeah. Well,
and it's also Isochron Scepter is a single spell. Most of those types of effects are a single spell. This is build up a list of shit.
Yeah.
And you can do one of them for free every turn.
Yes, and that's the other thing as well. Is because you have to exile it from your hand, right? So you draw a card, you do your Panoptic Mirror, removes it from your hand. Yeah, you lose access from that. It's not in your graveyard anymore. But you only get to do one from the list unless you have, again,
Some
the cards that double things or whatever.
But even then, you'd be doubling. Oh, you double a trigger, so then you could pick a different one.
You can pick a different card. But even so there's even more effort to double this effect.
Yeah, I don't think like doubling it is necessarily a concern. Oh, it'll be a concern.
It would be eventually.
Yeah. I think it is more. It would turn it in, like every game where this is included. I feel like would turn into a game of 2 halves, like before Panoptic Mirror and after Panoptic Mirror. Like after it comes down and like things are set up, sure, costs aside, then everybody's doing everything they can to deal with this thing that is happening every turn cycle. Yes, artifacts can be removed. Artifacts can also be protected and all sorts of other things. And like, yeah, sure, you can cost reduce. You could Inspiring Statuary, improvise. You could make a lot of treasures, tap for 5, get this down for free.
Yeah.
There's some weird stuff you can do with effects that have X in the cost, but that's pretty niche.
Most things that remove counter or do anything with artifacts are very cheap.
Oh yeah,
Strict Serenade, man.
Like, the ETB effect on a little creature or something like that. But
yeah,
I don't know. I think I could see it coming off the list, but I still don't know what that would actually do to games. I think you're right. Like there's been a lot of Magic cards that have come out since then. So yeah, there's more options for removal. There's also more options for stuff to imprint with it. That would be kind of bad too.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree, but it's all about interaction, right?
Yeah.
Imagine if you imprinted Coalition Victory with it.
No, we can't talk about unbanning two cards because no, then I'd keep it banned. That's not going to help your argument.
Okay. So what do you think?
I just having looked at like other cards with imprint, other cards that let you do things for free, even cast copies for free. There's usually an element of having to pay a cost every time you go to cast it, even if you're not paying the cost of the spell. Isochron Scepter, you're paying 2. Even if you exile something that costs less than 2, you're always paying 2. And a lot of those effects are like exile it, copy it, do the copy, but then that spell, that card, it stays exiled. You only get to do that once. I think this is, at least in my mind, I know it's not exactly what the ban reason as written is. If I don't like the fact that you are repeatedly playing spells for 0 and like repeating the same, and I think that is where like the element of a boring game comes in, because it's the same spells potentially that you're looping and paying nothing for. The mana curve and the land structure within Magic is its key resource limit. Like you turn 1, chances are you're doing 1 or 2 worth of mana, unless you're playing CEDH, but again, not here, thank you. Turn 2, maybe you're accelerating a little bit, but generally there's a bit of a curve to when things will happen, and after a point, the curve just goes down. It stops existing, potentially.
You remove the curve.
And that's before we even talk about exiling a free turn spell with it.
Yes.
Like there are legal cards that say take an extra turn after this one. They're not even that expensive.
Yeah. I'm just waiting for that comment that's like, man, it's going to cost you 11 mana to play Time Turner. Watch the rest of the video.
If you tried to do it all on the same turn, it would.
Yeah, it's multiple turns, baby.
But even thinking about the Obika combo, right? Like, assuming no fast mana, assuming no acceleration of any type, 4th turn, Obika down. 5th turn, Panoptic Mirror down. 6th turn, you're starting your Imprint. And then 7th turn, it pays off. Sure, it's taken you that long, but that's assuming you don't try to accelerate it in any way. Like I said, you could basically play this for free with something like Inspiring Statuary, which gives all your artifacts. It gives non-artifacts. Oh no, that wouldn't. No. How does it work again? Non-artifact spells have improvise, so you couldn't use it for this actually. So bad example, but there are ways to reduce the cost of a 5 generic easy.
Or Vidalcan Orrery and all that stuff.
Just
make it
like
cheaper.
Hell, make a Soul Ring and then copy it a bunch. And have a bunch of Soul Rings.
Imprint the Soul Ring.
No.
Can't do that.
No.
It's not an instant or a sorcery.
You build an Orvar deck and you target a Soul Ring and then you copy a Soul Ring and you make a lot of Soul Rings.
I think,
it's a bit of work, sure, but
I think the work makes this unbannable.
Not
even as a meme, just
I think I could see it coming off mostly because of your point around like how prevalent artifact removal is, how easy and cheap it is,
and how expensive that is.
But I would still look at this one sideways if someone played it. Okay. They're like, okay, sure, it's you're investing a ton of mana to make anything work with it, but I still don't like what it does. And like, I like it as like, I would love to play with it.
Yeah.
But again, imagining being on the receiving end of that in a game, I'm now looking at a person who is doing maybe big spells for free every turn.
I would be really, and this is maybe just how I play and what I like in my games. I'd be really excited if this hit the board, because I'd be like, what are they going to improve with this?
Oh yeah, like
what is going to happen?
That's thought number one, and then whatever they do first is going to set a tone.
And also, I don't play targeted removal, so
it's all board wipes.
And it'd be just like, that happens. I'm going to let that happen. And it's not me letting it happen because I'm going I want it to happen, but because I have no options.
What year was this banned?
2005.
Yeah.
So
the some of the language in that ban reason, So here's the thing about the Commander website. They only started listing the ban reasons, was it this year?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Or at the end of last year.
So I don't know if this is being pulled from an internal document somewhere, or if they had to come up with it when they put it on the website. If this was the original reasoning, and they're talking about this being, a warning to players or a notice of like, this is a trap, don't build this way.
Yeah.
We've had 19 years of people getting into Commander. And
not building this way.
And deck building as a concept evolving.
Yeah.
So I wonder if we took this off the list, if that would even be as big of a concern.
I just don't think it would change much. Not in the time it's been out. I think that the way people would build decks, it wouldn't suddenly become an Ancestral Recall or even like a Rofalos or something where it's like, this is an auto include. Gifts ungiven.
Well, yeah, the difference with those three is they're colored.
Yeah.
This could go in any deck.
Yeah.
anything that's running a sufficient number of instants or sorceries, or maybe even not that many,
Yeah.
but the ones they are running are problematic.
And I guess that's why the last point as well is you need to have that card in your hand to imprint first. Like, you could just pick any card in your hand to do, but if you're going to do something specific, you need to have that card in your hand and to still pay for it.
Again, if you're building around it, you put tutors in there.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Demonic tutors 2, sure.
Yeah. So I think it could come off the list.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would be trying to keep an eye on it if it ever showed up in a game.
Ah, like Jeweled Lotus, where when they printed it and they said, we're keeping an eye on this card. And then 3 years later, they kept an eye on it so hard they banned it, and everyone's like, oh, it came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, that's more a problem with, like, they didn't keep reminding people that we're keeping an eye on it, which, sure, that's a communication problem.
When we become members of the CFP, which is inevitable to happen, eventually they'll run out of people and they'll have to come to us.
Say that.
So in about 10 years' time, when they've gone through every other creator and they get to the bottom of the barrel, I'm unbanning Panoptic Mirror, and I will tell you daily. There'll be just a Twitter account.
0 days since Panoptic Mirror was unbanned. 1 day since Panoptic Mirror was unbanned.
2 days since Panoptic Mirror was unbanned. 0 days since Panoptic Mirror was
back on the list.
Back on the list straight away. Hi, we've got an urgent announcement. I know we released the September announcement last 2 days ago, but Panoptic Mirror, whoops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, like, I'm still iffy about it just because of how much of Magic's restrictions it removes. Like, it also, you don't have to care about hand size. You can just exile a bunch of shit over time.
And I guess cards that already exist fix this card. Ways to fix it: take the card out of the exile once it's been cast, so you can only do it once off. Like, Panoptic Mirror can stay, but once the card's been cast from exile for free, it leaves the pool of
because then I guess, like, you could do something like, if you had a bunch of mana 1 turn and a handful of instants and sorceries, you could just, it's a tap effect, isn't it? Yeah, you couldn't just jam them all under there.
Well, the thing as well is, like, you could have a thing where, like, the spell resolves properly. So it goes to the grave. It's not casting a copy, it's casting that spell for free, and then it goes to the grave.
But then,
so there's ways
but then why have this card in the first place? Just fucking play the spell.
Exactly. Well, it's like a suspend, but you can do it whenever you want.
Yeah, but it's doing nothing to change the cost, so you might as well just have it in your hand.
It's also not a May. Oh no, it is a May. So you also don't have to copy the target instant or sorcery.
But so on your upkeep, you may copy.
Yeah. So also, if it's an effect you fucking forget, which I will, it means you don't get to be like, oh man, sorry, combat's done and I forgot my fucking May effect.
I'm gonna
keep track of your cards. Watch your board state.
I mean, look, I'm willing to be a little nice with stuff like that.
I'm not. Watch us on TikTok. Watch us on TikTok and Spotify and YouTube and Blue Sky. Casual compliance on all of them. How good is that? We get to have our name on everything. Patreon's there as well. We promise we'll get there eventually.
We got Christmas break.
We'll figure it out. But yeah, Panoptic Mirror, half unbanned.
No, I think I would just put it in the unbanned. You can't do that. That's going to clip the mic.
Too bad. Yes.
It's an unbanned, but I don't feel great about it.
Pew, 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 air horns. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for watching. It's a success for Gramps for once. I've been Gramps.
I've been chillybin.
And we've unbanned Panoptic Mirror. If you disagree with us, get into the comments. Tell us how inefficient it is and how we're bad at Magic. Casualcompliance@gmail.com. Let us know in our email as well.
Tell me what I've missed, because I feel like it's a bad card, but I don't know if it's that bad.
And I think it's great. Thank you for watching.
All right, bye.
Good shit.